country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Okie dokie. Ooh, look at that. Very shadowy, Bill. Very shadowy. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't think the lights are on over there. Oh, well. There you go. That's why it's shadowy on that side. But hey, we're a radio show, folks. We're not what you would say a television program. So there you have it. Philip the Ref Pilkington is that unplugged? Boy, these things never go. There's a real old school NBC Letterman feel to the whole thing. Pirates lose to Charlotte, the Charlotte 49ers, with the victory over ECU in a game that was an old school, old-fashioned, not real fun to watch rock fight. And then it became there we go, a little better. And then it became a run by Charlotte late. ECU just couldn't get anything done offensively. And que sera, sera. That's all she wrote. And, you were there, Philip the Ref Pilkington, by the way, there in person. I don't know what it was like to watch that in person, but watching it on the television was a little rough on Saturday.
I think the atmosphere in the arena made it a little better in person, but, it was kind of 30 minutes of bad basketball by both teams, followed by 10 more minutes of bad basketball by ECU. And 49ers, I thought, looked solid down the stretch. They put a couple runs together. Unfortunately, when you're in those low-scoring games where both teams rely on defense, when one team puts a run together, that seems to be the deciding factor.
What's interesting is, Charlotte's got a good basketball tradition. A great basketball tradition, if we're being quite honest. I mean, they've been to the NCAAs. They've knocked off top two teams. They've, they were in Conference USA back when it was the NBA, and ECU was under Bill Harrion. So, I mean, they've had they've been to a Final Four, for crying out loud. But and Jarvis Lang from Farmville played and had a great career there. So our guy Cornbread Maxwell was there, friend of the show. So, I mean, it's had its moments, and I like their team from the standpoint that they played hard. I thought they were well coached. I just think ECU's got to have some guys step up, and I think if you're Mike Schwartz, as far as the future goes, you've got to figure out what your roster's gonna be about. Because right now, offensively, it's just not working. It's not going like it needs to go right now. It's just not. Let's see here. Pilk, any observations from, again, inside the arena? I know it was a hostile environment, but any other notes from any of that?
I think that the biggest observation and takeaway is that Charlotte is ready for this to be a rivalry. The unfortunate thing is we have one win against them since joining the same conference together in volleyball. We went 0-2 in soccer. Lost the other volleyball match. Now we've lost in men's basketball and football. But this team is fully ready for an in-state rival, the same as the Pirates are. They were kind of heckling us as we were walking out of the media room by the student section. It was in a fun way. They were kind of smiling, wearing media pass and jarred back at them too much. But, had a little fun with it. But they're ready for this to become, Duke Carolina type. And we just hope the Pirate fans are in for it as well. And hopefully that we can show up on February the 9th.
March 9th.
Or March 9th. Sorry,
yeah.
Thank you. As well as they did on Saturday.
The announced team of Johnson and Seymour will be on that one on the 9th. So that'll be exciting. Looking forward to that. By the way, a week from tomorrow, Pilk, is the first ECU softball game at home. And that'll be the first game. In fact, I just came from kind of a preseason meeting with Shane Winkler and Coach Q, the pitching coach, that we had for that. So looking forward to that. I'm going to be on all the softball broadcasts. I'll still do some baseball this year, but looking forward to being involved in the softball broadcasts as we elevate the stature of those broadcasts this season. All right, you ready to do a Pirate? Oh, by the way, speaking of baseball, Cliff Godwin's going to be on with us today. This year, we're going to be joined by Stephen Igo for our Inside the ECU Clubhouse with Coach Cliff Godwin segments. We'll get to that. We talked to Coach G a little bit ago. So Cliff Godwin today coming up with Igo and myself. Of course, Igo and I will be over at Tiebreakers later on tonight. But right now, we'll talk Pirate Hoops, get some post-game reaction with our Pirate Report.
And now, Patrick Johnson with today's Pirate Report on the flagship station of the ECU Pirates, 94.3 The Game.
Pilk, I want to start with Cut 5 because I think the Brandon Johnson injury, even though he was not shooting the ball well, I think that really had a big imprint on the game because no BJ out there meant no scoring threat, because Azar was having a tough day, and it was all R.J. Felton with 20 points. So this is Coach Schwartz afterwards on Brandon Johnson's injury.
Yeah, I don't know the details of medically. I just know obviously he got hit pretty hard in his hip, and I don't know any details about it. But he went out. He looked at me. He told me he had to come out. Then he came back out, and he said he wanted to give it a try, and we went right back with him when he did. And I could just tell the way he was moving out there that it wasn't a good situation, and so that's just that, and we'll continue to evaluate it.
All right, this is what Coach Schwartz said happens when you don't shoot the ball well.
We need to offensive rebound when we don't shoot the ball well. And outside of making free throws in the second half and going 14 for 14 from the free throw line, which is maybe the only positive I can see on offense other than another game where we don't turn the ball over. Golly, if I would look at the stats and say we would be 14 for 18 from the free throw line and only turn the ball over 8 times, you'd think you'd have a chance on offense. But when these shooting percentage numbers continue to be what they are.
Here's Coach Schwartz on how a run, which we saw Charlotte put on the Pirates late game, can change a game.
Even in a defensive game, as you said, a rock fight type game, one quick run, 6-0, 7-0 run, it can feel so much bigger because it's so difficult to put the ball in the basket on our end.
And let's see here. Shot quality, turnovers, lack of execution. Those are the things that really did the Pirates in against Charlotte.
But in the first half, we really do try and evaluate our shot quality. I thought we actually turned it over too much in the first half but our shot quality was there. I mean, some uncontested threes, and the ones that we just talked about in the locker room. You're getting to the paint, and you have the ability to play in the paint. Now they got great size. Milicic has 5 block shots, and obviously Jackson is just a heck of a player. But still, when you get the ball to the paint, and this is a tough team to get the ball to the paint.
Yes.
And we know. I think our first foul that we picked up was 10 minutes into the game. We were trying to drive the ball, but it just wasn't there. And then we didn't convert on our free throws in that first half, 0 for 4, as you and I talked about walking off the court at halftime. But in the end of the day, you got to knock down some of those shots that when you work hard versus a good defensive team to get a catch and shoot 3 off a kick out or a drive to the paint, and you're 2 feet in the paint at the rim. Some of those have to go in because I just told the guys, you make 2 or 3 of those. It's just the feel of the game, but it gives a defense a lot of confidence.
Well, and look, I think it was a defensive game. There's no doubt about that. But to me, Pilk, I thought the Pirates were engaged. I thought they played with a lot more intent on both ends of the floor. Now, they weren't able to knock down shots, but I thought their engagement level was a lot more it was more there than it was Wednesday night against South Florida. I didn't think everybody was really engaged in what was going on against South Florida, and it showed. This is a game where I just think they kind of ran out of gas, ran out of proven bodies, and Azar's got to kind of step his game up a little bit. I mean, in a game like that, to me, Pilk, that's a grinder. Ezra Azar needs to be able to go to work.
Yeah, he does, and obviously he had some of that foul trouble there. But to your point, Patrick, and I agree, I was at both contests. I just thought the body language, even pregame, was much better in Charlotte. They seemed a lot more focused. And to your point, they played hard. You just didn't get the shots to fall. And
Yeah.
that, unfortunately has been the story of the year. But the good thing is like Coach hasn't had to coach effort, it seems like a lot. And that was another thing this week, that
South Florida seemed to be the first time
maybe. Yes,
that
I
was,
agree with South Florida.
maybe to me an issue. Maybe it has been in some of the other games, or maybe a single player, and I just haven't noticed it. But to me, that was the one where it really became an issue was South Florida. All right, Pirates were undersized in a physical game. Let's hear what Coach had to say about that.
They got a great front line. I mean, Milicic has, 5 block shots, and Jackson is very hard to deal with in there, just on the glass, and so we obviously were undersized, and I thought Sear fought what he could. We tried Cal in there, Ezra with the 4 fouls, and again with Brandon being in foul trouble, we had to go a different route for a little bit and try a small lineup. And again, I thought it was effective, but when you're down and you're with a small lineup, eventually a good team is going to find a crack in that armor, whether it's on the offensive glass, whether it's a cut, off-ball cut, because the guys are doing stuff that they're not accustomed to doing. I mean, we don't play 5 guards on defense. That's not our defense. Our defense is more predicated on physicality, more predicated on help and being able to swarm the ball in the paint, as opposed to now you're down 6 or 7, you're trying to pressure the ball, the court starts to get wide open, and give Charlotte a ton of credit. They also made shots. They shot 50% in the second half. And again, I'll say it, and I'll keep saying it, there's a reason they're in first place, and Coach Fern and their program, what they're doing, and they showed it tonight.
All right, and Coach Swartz thought they handled the environment well. And that was the other thing, too. You mentioned the crowd. I mean, that's probably the first game. They played Florida in a neutral site. I mean, there were people there, but it wasn't the same as, if they'd been in the swamp. Mason, that was the day after Thanksgiving, or the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I mean, there was a crowd there, but that was kind of an older, sleepy crowd, too, in a cavernous, dark arena. I'm just trying to think, do the Pirates, have they played before a real rabid crowd this year? Wichita State, but, that game was not as well attended as it's been traditionally because of some people with some disgruntled feelings towards the program right now.
Maybe FAU, they don't have as many people there, but I do think they're passionate. Not to this level, but if there's any.
But the students weren't there at FAU.
That's true. It was the 2nd of January.
Yeah. So
kind of the same as Florida. They were alumni, but not students.
Yeah, this may have been the best environment ECU's played in on the road or away from Minges this year, and I thought they handled it beautifully. So did Coach Swartz.
This is a great environment. Nothing but respect for Charlotte and their fan base. I mean, it was fantastic in terms of the environment in there. I don't think our guys are rattled to play on the road. I thought Charlotte played really good basketball. Whether we've gone into FAU or gone to Wichita State or gone to Temple or UAB. UAB, we led for 32 minutes of the game. So I think our team is growing from a standpoint of, because in that George Mason game early in the season, that was our first road test, and we didn't handle it very well, albeit we had some guys out. But the bottom line is, I think this team handles being on the road and welcomes a good environment. That's what all college guys want. That's what college basketball is about.
Absolutely. It's a bye week for the Pirates. Probably couldn't come at a better time, meaning they will not have a midweek game. Their next game will be Saturday. Is it at 4 from San Antonio against UTSA? Pilt gave me something there, so I'm assuming that's what he meant.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, my computer's messing up.
No, that's fine. Everything's awry here. 3:30 will be the airtime, and of course 4 o'clock the tip. But you have a whole week to kind of get rested, a whole week to recover from the bumps and bruises, and a whole week to maybe make some adjustments to what you're doing right now. And you are going to find out this week, and you're going to find out over the next several days who wants to be here, because February is a grind. So, Coach Swartz, on the benefits of the bye week.
This was a difficult stretch here. 2 road games in 6 days, and 2 of them versus 2 of the 2 first-place teams in the league. And so I think from a physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, and academic standpoint, this week will be big in terms of being able to hopefully maybe get some guys healed up a little bit or get some guys' body feeling a little bit better going into this Texas road trip next week versus UT San Antonio. But also, I liken it to baseball a lot. In baseball, if a hitter's struggling, he gets in the batting cage, and he sits in the batting cage and he works, and whether it's mechanics, whether it's film, whether it's just repetition work. And when you have a 3-game stretch in 6 days, what you lose is gym time. And we didn't have a bye week this first half of conference play, so this will be the first time that our guys maybe get a couple days where we won't have true practice, where they can just be in the gym and trying to work on shooting the basketball or other areas that maybe have gotten away from us.
All right, and the importance of having Quentin Mbunje back, who I didn't think – now, you saw him in person, but I didn't think he had any ill effects of his ankle. He looked great. I mean, that was a pretty serious ankle injury, too. So
there were some times early he was babying it a little bit, but if the ball was near him or he was on defense, it wouldn't happen. It was just kind of up and down the court. He babied
right.
a smidge.
Well, maybe that's mental, and I'm sure it was sore. But, I mean, I thought he looked fantastic. So Mbunje back, that's a big deal for East Carolina. Once he gets his legs back, it's almost a shame from the Mbunje standpoint that you have this open week. But once he gets his legs back, I mean, he's athletic and big enough to be a factor, especially on defense in the American, for these long wings that a lot of teams have.
He got 3 pretty good looks off the bounce, like in terms of off the bounce drives, kicks to him where he didn't have to put it on the deck and he gets a catch and shoot shot. And I know he's capable of making those. He will make those. They didn't go in tonight, I'm sure. I mean, he practiced for the first time yesterday. He literally has not, the day he got hurt in that FAU game on January 2nd, he has not put a practice had a rep in practice since yesterday. And he did it yesterday, so I give him a lot of credit, a lot of toughness for him to fight through it. Obviously, from a conditioning standpoint and timing standpoint, he's not going to be there yet. But I like what he gave us tonight. And, hopefully as the season goes and February goes, he helps allow us to stretch the floor out a little bit because that's where we're struggling right now.
All right, that's today's Pirate Report. Pirates have a bye week. We'll hear more from Coach Schwartz tonight on Inside Pirate Athletics. Danae McNeil has been named the AAC Conference Player of the Week for women's basketball. Second time of the season, 5th time of her career. So congratulations to her. Where is what I was sent by the great Malcolm Gray today? And season tickets and renewals are now on sale for Pirate football. That goes on sale today. So go ahead and get in line and get your season tickets for Pirate football here in 2024. A lot of optimism heading into the season. Okay, we're taking a break. And when we come back, by the way, did you see Memphis barely won, Pilk? They had to hit a buzzer beater against Wichita State.
We may or may not have also been watching that on Media Row on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Wichita was going to get them. So Wichita's the next game I'll have for ECU when they play the Wheat Shockers. All right, timeout, and when we come back, inside the ECU Pirate Clubhouse with baseball head coach Cliff Godwin, Stephen Igo from Hoist the Colors joins us. You won't want to miss it. It's next.
It's Greenville Toyota's Winter Wrap-Up Event. Wrap up a great deal on over 100 pre-owned vehicles, starting under $15,000. We have all makes and models, including luxury. Plus, wrap up a huge warranty and no-charge maintenance. Hurry into Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins', we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hey, grab me one too.
place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
It's Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. We're wrapping up the year with our biggest savings. Shop new Camrys and RAV4s, $289 a month. Need credit? Get pre-qualified today. Wrap up a great deal with payments from $289 at Greenville Toyota.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the happy hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
Every week we're going to be visiting with Cliff Godwin during the baseball season. Steve and I go alongside Patrick Johnson here. Coach is always gracious with his time, and we're certainly excited about ECU baseball right around the corner. All right, Coach Godwin joining Steve and I go and myself. Coach, great to see you. You look fantastic, and certainly I know the excitement's building a couple weeks away from first pitch.
It is. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys and all the coverage you do for ECU, but specifically baseball. Even when Patrick refers to it as football, all good. So, Patrick, I had to throw that in there, man. I love you, man. I appreciate it.
Well, Coach, you and I go back a long way, and I have such admiration for what you've done. 10 years. Boy, I tell you, you talk about the interest in the program, the coverage of the program. It's really unprecedented. How has the program evolved in your mind in 10 years?
Oh man, it's come a long way, and I'm not saying that because I've been here for 10 years, but you go from not having a hitting indoor, not having a pitching indoor, not having a really nice video board. So the facilities have actually improved a lot, but just the first year we just survived. We had really tough kids, and we worked them really hard. We won 40 games, won the conference tournament out of sheer grit, in my opinion. Jeff and I always talk about that's probably going to be the best coaching job that we ever have done here, even when we do go to Omaha and compete for a national championship. I know people would disagree, but just thought those kids really bought in and were really tough. You could travel 27 at the time. We traveled 26 because that's the number of healthy players that we had on that team to hosting 3 regionals in a row and going to super regionals and, of course, being close. And what our guys have done in the classroom, having a 3.4 team GPR higher for 6.5 years. And it's hard to be consistent in life in anything, but especially in college athletics with the way the landscape is today, as you guys talk about portal and NIL stuff. I've just been proud of the group that we've had, from our coaching staff, our support staff, our players, what they've continued to just hold a very high standard to. I mean, everybody expects us to win, which makes it harder, which is fine with me, but our players and our coaches have done a really good job.
Coach Cliff Godwin is with us. Before Stephen really digs in on you here, Coach, I wanted to have you maybe speak about Jeff Palumbo. I'm glad you mentioned him. He's obviously been with you every step of this decade journey.
Yeah, going into last year, we had Zach Womack, and unfortunately, what happened with him, he's no longer with us. And so Jeff and I have been here since day one, the summer of 2014. And Jeff's a unbelievable person, number one, great recruiter, great coach. Normally, when you're a recruiting coordinator, at times they're not the best coaches, but Jeff's got the best of both worlds. He could have gone elsewhere and been a head coach, but he loves it here. He wants to see this thing through as I do, and his family loves Greenville. And obviously, with all the sports that his kids play, it's a very good place to raise a family. And we definitely would not have had the success we've had here without a guy like Jeff Palumbo being on the staff.
Coach, less than 2 weeks till first pitch. It's coming up quickly, but you guys have clearly been putting in a lot of work, and a few scrimmage weekends down. What have you liked? What do you want to see your team improve upon as the opener nears?
Well, I thought you were going to hit me with a starting rotation to start with. So
It's coming.
Hey, I know it's coming. I know you're trying to hold it back, which you're probably going to get your feelings hurt as you do
That's
all
fine.
hey, as you do.
Wait a minute. Whoa, Coach, you're going to hurt our come on, hurt our feelings.
Hey,
You
we're
know,
used
come
to
on.
it. We're used to it, Coach.
Yeah.
Well, it hurt his feelings because I mean he's already got on all his message boards and stuff who he's projecting. So I'm sure, but
It's part of the job,
okay,
Coach.
But that's right. That pays the bills, doesn't it? I go. So I'm gonna let you keep doing that. But I would think I'd like to see our pitching staff throw a few more strikes, and then not necessarily the guys that are the main players on the position player side, but we just need to clean up some things defensively for some guys that, hey, you guys know you're a hamstring away or a wrist injury away of somebody having to play that maybe you didn't expect to be out there on opening day. So those are the things I want to see. And then for our guys to stay hungry, it's been a unique preseason from the standpoint we've been on the field a lot. And so I think it can become monotonous when you've had really good weather and the guys are ready to go and play somebody different. But to really, take these days, especially Tuesday, Wednesday practices, which are more cleaning up, bunt defenses, first and thirds, pickoffs, stuff like that, to be engaged in those practices and not just try to do it in scrimmages. So.
Coach, I was out there Sunday, 7 inning scrimmage. I couldn't help but notice Riley Johnson looked great. I know he's kind of battled a shoulder for a while now. Just his impact, and I know he means a lot to your roster, to your team. You just talk about his progression and his health right now.
Man, I'm so proud of Riley, and he's wearing basically double shoulder braces on both shoulders so that they don't just slip out. So you talk about somebody that is really tough mentally and physically. We've tried to protect him as much as we can, but of course he wants to go out there and play, which hey, we want him to play too. But we got to manage it to a certain level throughout the week of practices, and he's been the best assistant coach for Bristol Carter. And I tell Bristol all the time, man, for a guy that plays your same position and was hurt in the fall, stands out there next to you, he's a tremendous asset. Riley's going to play. If he's healthy, he's going to play. How it's going to look, I don't know, but he's going to play for sure. And I'm just so proud of the way he has come out. But, man, he took over the game yesterday. I know his team didn't win, but for the guy on that team, man, he was just, putting together unbelievable bats, hits a home run, steal bases, plays great defense. Just great to see him out there.
And I was going to ask too, with the outfield situation, and then Carter, Cunningham was getting some reps in left field, made a great catch against the wall. I know he's played some first base as well. So, moving him to first a little bit, is that just a chance to kind of increase the flexibility and the options for you guys?
For sure. I mean, the outfield's pretty loaded. So, and first base is a constant competition. I thought Carter is kind of weird. I had a conversation with him this week. And last year when we put him over there, I was like, hey, man, you've played first base before. It's like riding a bike, and he didn't put a lot of pressure on himself. Well, now since he's worked at it, of course, he's a great kid, so he's conscientious about the way he looks and if he's making every play. And I felt like he's played tight at first base defensively. And I was like, hey, man, I need you to go have fun. I need you to go out there and just play first base. And, yeah, you and Coach Palumbo work on some things, but when the game happens, just go out there and play. Let your natural instincts take over. But I've been playing him at least one day in the outfield on scrimmage weekends just to keep him fresh out there as well. He's one of our best defensive outfielders. So, if he starts at first base on opening day, you might see him end up in left field if we have a lead and somebody else, Cam Clonch or Chaz might be over there, but Chaz also might be DHing. So, but Clonch has done a really good job defensively in the preseason and put together some really tough at-bats. So that's going to be the unique thing about this team, in my opinion. It's the deepest position player group that we've ever had here. So just getting guys in roles, but also you guys know how I like to utilize the bench because I want guys to get in there because we're not just preparing for the first game, we're preparing for down the season. And, you definitely are going to have some guys that get nicked up and dinged up during the season. So for other guys to be able to go in there and you not miss a beat.
Pirate baseball coach Cliff Godwin joining Steve and Igo and myself here as we talk ECU baseball with him. We'll do it every week, and looking forward to having Coach. I look at uh, in the middle of the infield. I know everybody's talking about the corners in the outfield, but up the middle in the infield. You do have Starling, so that's a little bit of a stalwart. Are you looking for more of a leadership role out of him? And then, shortstop seems like that could be an open position. There's competition. I know there's competition everywhere, but you've got Barini. Who else could maybe shift over and play short for you?
Well, the first part of your question, Starling has taken on more of a leadership role. That's the thing I've been most impressed with him is, he's not been one that has always loved practice. And this fall, I mean, he just got after it, and he's done that in the spring. I actually didn't play on Friday because he popped a blister on his big toe and couldn't go on Friday, but just hit on Saturday and then played yesterday. But he showed up every day. He's helped the younger guys. Joey's our starting shortstop, so just so I will get Igo out with that. But the thing I have been most impressed with Joey is that he's better this year, and a lot has to do with, of course, Jeff working with him, but also he played shortstop last year.
Right.
So I've said this, and this isn't a knock against Ryder Giles. I love Ryder, but Ryder would have played some last year if he'd have stayed here, and that would have probably impacted Joey's development in a negative way.
Right.
Joey having to go out there and just do it has made him better. His range is better. His arm's better. He's more confident out there. So he's our starting shortstop. Nate Chrisman would be a guy that can play anywhere on the field. Dixon Williams can play short. I feel confident about that with his athleticism. And then Nick Parham played great defense on Saturday, and then he looked like a freshman yesterday. So, which he's a great kid. He's going to continue to get better, but those are kind of your options there at shortstop.
A couple weeks ago in one of the scrimmages, Parker Bird gets a base hit. That had to be, kind of a lump in your throat moment. I know it was huge for him and huge for the team.
Yeah, well, Parker kind of big leagued me. I gave him a hard time. I was like, giving him knuckles when just Parker expected he was going to do that at some point in time. So that was cool. He's just been such an inspiration. I called his dad on last Sunday after it happened, and he's like, "Hey, do you know what hat you had on today?" And I said, "I do." It's the Parker Bird patch hat that, I've got it sit in my office, and for whatever reason, I picked it up last Sunday morning and just put it on and said, "I'm gonna wear that out there to practice." And just a great, cool moment. Parker spoke at his church a couple weeks ago in Laurinburg, and 5 people got saved. He's just been such an inspiration to so many people, and we're so happy he's a part of our group.
What's amazing is, he gets that hit. Everybody knows his story. My gosh, what an athlete. What a competitor. That's what he did is kind of unprecedented in baseball, I have to imagine.
It is, and this is coming from Parker, so you can fact check Parker, but there's never been a Division I baseball player playing a game that had a prosthetic, and Parker Bird's going to do that. He's going to get in at bat this spring at some point in time. I wish I could tell everybody exactly what game, what date, and all that stuff. Right. I can't, so I guess you just have to come to all the home games.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, but he works his tail off every single day, and I treat him just like one of our players because that's how he wants to be treated. He doesn't get any special treatment, and he just shows up and goes to practice like everybody else does.
Before I go again, hammers you with questions about the rotation, Coach. You talked about the church visit and the speech and 5 saved, and then there was something recently before the banquet, baptism on field there. Remarkable stuff, and it just seems like this group is incredibly close. But take us through that, where even you got baptized again that day.
I did. Well, let me preface anything because there's been some, negative feedback from people that are not Christians, and that's their priority. But number one, I don't make our kids get baptized. I don't make them go to SportWorks. We have an open door policy from the standpoint is we provide them an opportunity. If they want to grow in their faith, they can do that on Monday night with our SportWorks group, which is Webb Tyndall and Jamin Shelby. Not every one of our players attend. Coach Godwin's not going to write a lineup because you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, but it is an opportunity for our guys to grow that want to. So SportWorks, with their fellowship group, asked if anybody wanted to be baptized. So I think it was 10 guys that wanted to, and I had been going to Open Door Church, and I felt like God put on my heart that I wanted to get baptized, but I didn't really want to do it and make it a big spectacle because I wanted it to be my personal relationship with Jesus Christ and not Coach Godwin's getting baptized at Open Door. So Blake and I were in church like 3 Sundays ago, and I knew the guys were getting baptized, and I just tapped Blake on the knee and I said, "Hey man, I want to get baptized on the field too." And so he said, "Who do you want to baptize you?" And I said, "Mike, amen," because he's been such a spiritual leader for me. And our players, other than Carter Cunningham, because Blake told him, not even me, but our players didn't even know I was getting baptized that morning. And I say all that because, people are so quick to judge and think Coach Godwin's a, dictator. But
Right.
I've done a better job of it's free will for our guys. And so our guys did it. The parents got to watch them because it was the night of the banquet or the morning leading into the banquet. So it was one of the coolest things I've ever been associated with. And I'm so thankful that some of our guys wanted to turn their life over to Jesus Christ.
Awesome stuff, Cliff Godwin and the baseball team with all that stuff. Cliff joining us. He'll join us every Monday, 10 a.m. throughout the season. All right. So now I got to hit you with the rotation, Coach. At least I'll try. All right, so I know
You're gonna put you Savage in there, You think he's gonna be in the rotation?
I feel like you Savage. I mean, he's got to earn it, Coach, but I feel like he'll be in there. Obviously, Zach Root, has tremendous upside. Just, your thoughts on kind of who's competing there in the rotation at this point with the season closing in.
Well, you Savage and Root are definitely going to be in there at least at the beginning. They've earned that, and Jake Hunter's an option. Shinkman's an option. Jaden Winter's an option. I would say that, we're going to have some bullpen depth as well. So we're still in the process of figuring out who that Sunday starter is going to be. We just need our guys to know that the best thing about the pitching staff, and AK and I were talking about it yesterday after the scrimmage, is there's versatility. So if Jaden Winter's in the bullpen early in the year, we still feel like he could start if we needed him to at some point in time, whether it be a midweek game or a Sunday game. And same thing with Jake Hunter, same thing with Shinkman. I feel like Ethan Norby's going to start out in the bullpen. Eric Ritchie's going to start out in the bullpen. Those guys, Chris Kaler could start, but he's probably going to be in the bullpen as well. And Drew Bryant's done a really good job. He pitched great yesterday, but he's probably going to be in the bullpen as well. So, but we definitely have a lot of options, guys that can be in different roles throughout the season.
Take us through maybe the conversations with Wyatt Lunchford-Shinkman, who was such a weapon, middle relief, could close out games, but I've heard he's pitched pretty well this preseason, so it's got to be tempting to give him a shot at the rotation too, right? And just what are those conversations like behind the scenes?
Well, AK has a lot of them, but we're going to meet next Monday when we solidify who's going to be the third guy and then talk to those guys. I think communication is just really key, and it's not that Shinkman's not the guy. It's not like he didn't pitch good. It's just we need some veteran experience in that bullpen. Opening weekend, I mean, you guys know this, but every first game of the year, no matter who you play, it's normally a tight game. Last year, we're down 4-0 in that first game against George Washington of a doubleheader. And the second game, we're down 2-0. So you got to make sure you got guys, horses in the bullpen that can either keep your lead or keep them there so we can get some time to score some runs.
And then I wanted to hit too on just the bullpen. It feels like, Coach, you'll have maybe a little bit more left-handed options as well, bringing in Growler from Seton Hall and just some younger guys. So how do you kind of feel about having versatility, righties and lefties? And is there maybe a guy or two under the radar that has pitched pretty well this preseason that has started to earn you guys' trust a little bit?
Well, I think definitely we have more versatility than we've had in the past. Some of it's inexperience, so it's going to be crucial on our end to kind of spoon feed some of these guys, especially the young guys. Just get them on the field, let them have success, get them out of the game. They feel good about themselves and not let them kind of create their own jam. There's a lot of guys that could be that. I don't want to hit on all of them. I think J.D. Little, who's a freshman lefty, could really help us out in short stints because it's really funky. It's not a comfortable at bat. Corey Costello as well. Jackson DiLorenzo, I'm just going to call him D-Lo, so I'm just going to throw that out there. But he's been a lot better in the spring. He looks the part. He's got good stuff. AK's taught him a cutter, which getting guys off the fastball. But I like him and his mentality to this point. And of course, I've mentioned some of the other guys already. So there'll be a lot of options, and we need guys to stay hungry and be patient because, I think we've got a really good pitching staff.
We're talking Pirate baseball, Coach Godwin. A couple more questions for you. Obviously, you caught at ECU, McChrystal, and Wilcoxon back. Walker Barron, the addition to that battery, potentially great potential there. So, again, you're talking about depth at a key position that just takes a beating during the season. So that's a good thing.
It's a great thing. We've never been this deep at the position before since I've been the head coach here, and I actually don't remember this much depth at any program I've coached at. You've got two really good catchers. McChrystal's worked really hard. J-Dub has even improved defensively, but Ryan's always been more of a bat, but he's worked really hard to block the baseball better, receive better. He's always had the big arm. His arm's more accurate this year than it's ever been. And then Walker Barron has actually done a really good job in the preseason, and I've been catching him on J-Dub's team just to take off some of the workload from J-Dub in the preseason. But they're all going to catch it in some capacity just so that we don't run J-Dub in the ground early in the season. But I think Walker has probably just come just light years from after he had a little hiccup at the end of the fall, just lost his confidence, and he's throwing better, he's receiving better, he's blocking better, and he's actually swinging the bat really well.
Before I wrap here, is there anything else you want to ask Coach?
Yeah, I'll just close with this, Coach. Just it feels like watching Jacob Jenkins Cowart, even dating back to the fall and early this spring a little bit, seems like he's kind of back in a little bit of a groove as well. Just what have you seen from JC coming off last year's injury and everything? I know he hit a home run this weekend. What have you seen from JC thus far?
Well, JC, look, everybody has to go through struggle at some point. It wasn't like bad struggle last year, but we talk about the injury. He mentioned on Media Day, which I'm sure it made you guys laugh, that he actually started believing some of the stuff you guys were writing about how he was going to be a star, and you take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit. And, last year it just was kind of a weird year for him, in my opinion. And he came back this year hungry. He's done a really good job with his body. He's stronger. He's carrying more weight, still running really well. He's better in the outfield. And then he's just gotten back to himself hitting wise and worked really hard with Coach Lartigue and Coach Packard. And he's been one of our best leaders. I mean, he's really worried about other people more than he's worried about himself. I mean, you guys asked the question, and it was such a mature answer, but was the 3 home run game against NC State his most memorable moment of last year of his career? And it's like, yeah, no, it's, Nate Christman sliding in against Tulane. It's Lane Hoover, he was the guy that hit the ball that walked off Tulane, and Christman had to slide. Bryson's walk off 2 years ago against Houston to end the regular season. So that's really the way he's approached his business, and it's shown. And he's in a groove. He's right where he needs to be. So we're really excited by him.
Coach, end here with a couple of things. Talked to Mike Harrington on the show a couple weeks ago. Great guy. The Club 23 NIL initiative for baseball. Former players involved. It's an offshoot of Team Boneyard, but we don't like it. But it's reality in college athletics, and it's reality in college baseball. So this is an opportunity for the program to compete at a different level as far as NIL goes.
Yeah, it's just, taking some stuff off my plate where it's a one-stop shop. I appreciate Team Boneyard and Hank Hinton, just with the conversations him and I have had, and getting Mike in the loop, and Mike really running with it, and getting a lot of former players that played baseball here behind it. And hopefully we can get the confusion out of it. It's just a website underneath Team Boneyard that you can donate to baseball only. So we can send that link out to donors and people that want to help our players. And Mike said it, and my stance is pretty firm on this. We're not going to go get a Friday night starter and pay him $100,000 to come in here. We're going to use it for retention for the guys that have been in our program, have done things the right way, like a Trey Savage, like a Zach Root, Wilcox and Barini. We we've tried to take care of all of our returners in some capacity with the amount of money that has come in just this year. So it does help our guys. We only have 11.7 scholarships. It's not like football or basketball. We have 40 guys on our team and only 32 can be on 32 can be on scholarship. That's right. Man, they've changed those rules so much. I got to go back in my head and remember them. But
yeah.
So there's 8 players that are on your team every year that are not receiving 1 cent of athletic scholarship. And then most of our guys are on like 30% scholarships. So they still have a financial burden with their families. So I want to help those guys out within our program.
Coach, we always appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Inside the ECU clubhouse with Cliff Godwin. Always enjoy our chats with Coach, and thanks to Stephen Igo as well. Of course, Pirate baseball starts in less than 2 weeks. The opening weekend series against Ryder. All right, we're going to take a timeout. Philip the Ref Pilkington with the 94.3 The Game Sports Update and Pirate Report. I'll be back with you at the top of the hour from Tiebreakers with Inside Pirate Athletics with ECU's Mike Swartz. So stay with us as we continue on here on the Monday PJ Show.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Philip Pilkington here with your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. The men's basketball team fell 67-52 to Charlotte over the weekend. They do have a bye week this week and will not play again until Saturday when they take on UTSA.
So I think from a physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, and academic standpoint, this week will be big in terms of being able to hopefully maybe get some guys healed up a little bit or get some guys' body feeling a little bit better going into this Texas road trip next week versus UT San Antonio.
Be sure to tune in to 94.3 The Game's coverage. Network coverage will start at 3:30 for that 4 o'clock tip. The women's team came out on top at Wichita State 72-51. They have now won 4 of their last 5. It was announced that Panthers defensive coordinator Eldro Aruvo will return next season, as will most of the defensive staff. At Pebble Beach over the past weekend, Wyndham Clark took home the crown for his 3rd career PGA Tour win. He finished 17 under par for the tournament after shooting a final round at 12 under 60, which was the course record. The Kansas City Royals have locked down their shortstop for the future as they signed 23-year-old Bobby Witt Jr. to an 11-year extension worth $288 million. Witt will be entering his 3rd big league season this year. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. On the other side of this timeout, we will be back to wrap up the Patrick Johnson Show.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Hey, grab me one too.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into our Monday edition of the Patrick Johnson Show. Going to wrap it up with a little ECU basketball talk here. I was going to give my thoughts on what the message boards have been saying after Saturday's tough loss. Seems like a lot of people want Coach Schwartz gone. And look, I understand everybody's frustration, but right now, in the world we live in, Schwartz said he's going to come in and build a defensive identity. He did that. This team plays darn near 40 minutes of suffocating defense every time out. Now, unfortunately, we're not seeing the success of a team like a Virginia from the late 2010s and early 2020s. But the thing is, that's hard to accomplish. Look, all the Pirate fans are upset. You know, they're not scoring enough. Coach Schwartz sees that. if he could trade for some offense in the middle of the season like this was the NBA, I think he would. But I think we need to give Coach Schwartz a little time to go out there in an off season, because that first year you can never judge a coach on his first year unless it's just a dumpster fire, and it wasn't. But he has guys who want to play for him. They have that defensive identity that he has so preached. He's recruiting in the state, which he preached when he got here. That was his first 2 points of his press conference, his introductory one. And now he's going to have to go get that offense to make it the next step. And he's not going to change his identity. He's still going to be defense first. But this team just doesn't have enough scorers right now. And that's not Coach Schwartz's fault. And if you were judging a guy after just 2 years, I mean, should we go back to Coach Godwin's first year with the baseball team? You get swept to the opening weekend at Virginia. You lose to State. You lose to Campbell at home. You lose 2 out of 3 at home to VCU. You get swept in the regionals. Yeah, the second year was better. We went to Supers. But look at Coach Godwin's third year. Preseason top 10 and don't make the tournament. Do you guys want to go back and fire Cliff Godwin from then? Because could you imagine what this baseball team would be right now if we would have fired Cliff Godwin after the 2017 season? We got to give Coach Schwartz time. Look, this team is doing everything that he said is his identity. These guys want to play for him. It's a good brotherhood. I think there's good locker room chemistry from what I hear. This team's going to be okay. And everybody wants to win right now, and I get people's frustration, but I'm all for giving Coach Schwartz the ability to build an offense. He's built a defense as he said he would. He's got to take that next step. He knows that it hasn't been perfect. He's not blind. He gets it. But I don't know. I don't understand all the Coach Schwartz hate. But anyways, that'll do it for our Patrick Johnson show. Thanks to the P-Man. Thanks to Stephen Igo and Coach Godwin. Stay tuned for Inside Pirate Athletics and tune back in tomorrow for the Patrick Johnson show. Still trying to figure out a guest, so not quite sure who is going to be on tomorrow, but join us at 5 o'clock for that. Have a great rest of your evening, Pirate Nation.